Today we are going to go over some applications of the quadratic formula. Now I know there are a lot of words and that makes it very, very intimidating, but I'm going to show you some tricks so you don't have to really pay too close attention to what the words say. I'll go ahead and read this one. So you throw a stone from a height of 16 feet with an initial vertical velocity of 32 feet per second. The function h equals, this is what's most important, and there's only going to be one other number that's important. Let me, in fact, zoom in a little bit. So the function h equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 16 represents the height in feet of the stone after t seconds. Now, I know it says a lot in there. You don't have to worry too much about that. What I need you to do is find the equation. So this is the equation. And then we look at the question. So here is the question. You can tell because it's got the question mark. So when does the stone reach a height of 22 feet? They'll put some sort of number in that question. So all we're going to do is we're going to put that 22. I'm going to go ahead and write 22 equals, and then I'm going to do my equation. So negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 16. And now we're going to go ahead and solve this equation. So if you recall, the first step is to get the equation equal to 0. In order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 22 from both sides. And then I have, let me put this little, there we go. So we have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 32t, and then 16 minus 22 is negative 6. Now we're going to go ahead and use our quadratic formula, which we have been working with this whole unit. Oh, sorry. That was exciting. So I'm going to identify A as negative 16, B is 32, and C is negative 6. And we're going to put values into this equation. So we start with negative B. So we'll do negative 32. Let me make sure we can still see this formula though. Plus or minus. Then we do b squared. So remember, I actually figure out, so b squared in this case would be 32 squared. And I'm going to type that in. So 32 squared is, and you will get very big numbers today. So 1024. So do the square root of 1024 minus 4. And then we do our A, so negative 16, and then our C, which is negative 6. And then all of this is over 2 times negative 16. Okay, next step, if you remember quadratic formula, is to then figure out what all of this equals under the square root. So 1024 minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 6. So remember, in my calculator, I'll write this out so you remember what we're doing in our calculator. You're just typing in 1024 minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 6, and you get 640. So that means I have negative 32 plus or minus the square root of 640 divided by, and then we'll also, so that was this part, we'll also figure out what 2 times negative 16 is equal to, and that is negative 32. All right, now today we're actually going to do things a little different because normally we do something on this next step, and we're not going to do that today. And that's because we need to find the decimal answer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to our calculator again, and we're going to type everything in. Okay, so all of this goes into the calculator. So let me write it that way. And because we haven't done this, I'm going to go ahead and show you with a calculator how we would write this. Let me just write this down so I don't forget what we are doing. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my calculator app right here. Not app, but picture. It's literally just a picture. And I just want to make sure you see what we do step by step to type this in. So in order to get the fraction, you're first going to hit the N over D button. Then you're going to go ahead and type the -32. Okay, so you'll type that. And then first, just do the minus. So we'll do minus. So minus the square root. And just as a reminder to do the square root, you do second and then the x squared key. And then type 640. Then you're going to go down on your calculator. And so far, I should show you what you would have. So the N over D button will give you this. You'll type the -32, then we'll do minus square root of 640. And then you go down and type -32. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to hit enter. And then the last thing you'll do is hit this double arrow that I am blocking out several times right here. Okay? That's going to give you the decimal answer. So I'm going to go ahead. I wasn't typing that along with you, but I am going to do that. So feel free to type it in. Hopefully you have been. So I hit enter, and then I hit that double arrow, and I got an answer of 1.79. Okay. Then you just get to do it all again. And a quick trick, so you don't have to type it in again with my calculators, is if you just go up and then scroll over, you can change the minus sign to a plus sign. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You got to go all the way up back to the very first one you did. Hit that plus, hit enter, then you get your double arrow, and I got 0.2. If you round, it's 0.209 to 0.21. Okay, so let me go ahead and write. So that was just wanted to show the calculator. So in the calculator, you got two answers. One of them, and I should say this is t equals. So one of them was 1.79, and the other one was 0.21. And that's how you would type that in. All right, let's, by the way, it's seconds, I should say that, but that was your answer. You're done. So the biggest difference today is we're just typing it into the calculator and getting the decimal. All right, let's see another problem. So this one says, how long will it take for the object to hit the water? Now they'll say hit the water, and hitting, if you see the word hit the water or ground, you're going to say that your height is 0. Okay, so here's my equation again, going back to that equation. So I'm going to say 0 equals -16t squared plus 32t plus 16. And then we're going to go ahead. I'm going to move this over so I can look at the quadratic formula while I'm doing it. But zoom in. So this is A, B, and C. Because it's already equal to 0, I can just skip to this step. All right, so B is -32. And we already did the 32 squared. That was 1,024. Then we do minus 4 times A, so negative 16, times C, which is 16. All of that's over 2 times A, so negative 16. Okay. So once again, like in the past, we're going to go ahead and type this in. So I get negative 32 plus or minus, and then I'm going to type that in. So 1,024 minus 4 times negative 16 times 16 is 2,048. And then 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. Okay, just like last time, you're going to go ahead and put the whole thing into the calculator because we want the decimal answer. So we're looking for T. So remember, hit N over D, then negative 32 minus the square root of 2048 over negative 32. And sometimes it actually gives you the answer with the decimal without having to hit the double arrow. This is one of those cases. So you get 2.41. And then I'm going to go back up and I'm going to change that. If you can't change it, if that's too confusing for you, just retype it all in. It's not a big problem, but just do a plus sign. And this time you get negative 41. Okay, now this one's an interesting problem. There's one step we have to do, and that was we just have to get rid of any negative answers. So this is representing time in seconds, and you can't have negative time, so we just get rid of the negative. We only want positive numbers, okay? So this is the only answer. Let's do one more problem together and then we are good to go. Now I know this is really difficult. That's why the homework is pretty short, very, very short. I only gave you 3 questions, so just like the notes. And plus, I'm going to have you guys do some other stuff too. But let's go ahead and do this last one. The weekly revenue for a company is R of P equals this. So once again, find your equation. Really, you just need to find this part. So there's our equation. It says where P is the price of the company's product. What price will result in a revenue of $1,100? And I'm missing the question mark. That was my bad. That's the question. Remember, the question's where you find your value. So we're going to put $1,100 equals negative 3P squared plus 60P plus 950. So I just took whatever the value was they gave me, set that equal to this. Okay, well this one, just like a previous one, we have to get it equal to 0 first. So I'm going to subtract 1,100 from both sides. Notice I'm putting it under the 950. That's because those are like terms. So I've got 0 equals negative 3P squared plus 60P. And then in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and figure out what 950 minus 1,100 is, and you get negative 150. And now we get to do our A, B, and C, so we can use the quadratic formula. So A, in fact, I'm going to bring that quadratic formula down so it's closer. Oops, didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Okay, so we got A is negative 3. B is 60, and C is negative 150. So I'm going to go ahead and do negative 60, because we do negative B, plus or minus the square root. Then I'm going to figure out what 60 squared is. So 3,600. So 60 squared. Remember, it's always a positive number. That's why I have you guys square it first. Minus 4 times negative 3 times negative 150. We put that all over 2 times negative 3. All right, now we're going to type all that in. So negative 60 plus or minus, and I do 3,600 minus 4 times negative 3 times negative 150. I get 1,800. And then 2 times negative 3, shouldn't underline that, it looks confusing, is negative 6. Let me just spread those out a little more. Okay. Now remember, this is the time where we go to the calculator. So let's type that in. So I hit n over d, negative 60 minus the square root of 1,800 over negative 6. And this is one where it gives you an answer right away. Sorry, I just wanted to see what we were doing. So we're doing price, but you won't have to worry too much about this. I'll put the units on for you, but this is $17.07 is what I got. Remember, go back up, hit enter, and then change it to a plus sign. And you also get $2.90, we're going to round to 3 cents in the calculator. That is your answer.